Hi, I'm Leanne Ely. I'm a nutritionist, a New York Times best-selling author, and some people even say I'm a life coach. I started the Daily Dish Show to share my story, my truth, and my journey to vibrancy, and to inspire others to do the same. Because it's all about grit, perseverance, and finding a way despite the odds. It's about embracing the whole woman, not just the parts that are easy to love, and feeding her heart, mind, body, and soul. But I found that this isn't just my story, it's your story too. It's go time. This is the Daily Dish. Well, hello there. Guess what today is? It's Wise Women's Wednesday. And where are all those wise women? Sue is here in the house. Nancy, gosh, it's delightful to have you here. Cheers. Here's to my girl, Nancy. Who's got their hot melt mix going, by the way? Yes, ma'am. Hello, Jocelyn. Lovely to have you here. And Jackie, we line them up on Wednesday. Wednesday's a good one. Boy, today is hot stuff. Psst, like that. Hello, Lynn. I'm glad you're here. I'm going to tell you what. There's going to be somebody that you know that needs to hear this today. I'm just saying. Hey, Chris, I'm so glad you're here. There's going to be somebody who's going to need to hear this. Maybe it's you. Maybe it's a friend. But I just want to tell you right here, right now, it's a scorcher. It's a seatbelt moment. It's got some stuff on here, and it's going to, light you up. What did I do with my quote? I had it here. I swear I had it here. I have a quote for the day. Might have to get. Look at that. Joey's here. Chris is here. Alice is here. Boy, oh boy, we're going to have a party in about 5 minutes. Jenny, I can't find my quote. I lost it. She'll put it up. Anyway, our quote of the day. There it is. The more powerful the choices you make, the more powerful your choices become. And boy, oh boy, do I want you to choose yourself today. Right on. Who's choosing themselves today? I am. All day long. Pinkies are up on this one. This is important. Choose yourself. And I'm going to tell you why as we go on, because we're going to burn the house down on this. Now, the other thing that I want to say too is that if you are not taking glycozyme, and you're over the age of 35 and your digestion's just a little wonky doodle, I'm going to tell you right now, this is a game changer. It will help your digestion. It will help you get the nutrition that you need. And I have a little weird hair hanging here. Okay, sorry. And not only that, you know what else it's going to do? It is also going to help you maybe with some stuck stuff. Maybe you're plateauing. You just need a little help with some digestion. I'm going to tell you, this changed my whole life. It changed my whole life having this. So glycozyme's on sale. You know what else? Glycozyme is good for your digestion. It's good for your blood sugar as well. It's a 2-in-1. You can find this at savingdinner.com/show. You'll buy 3. You're going to get the 4th one free. That means you can throw 1 in your purse. It's going to make a big difference. Margot, where have you been? My goodness, it's good to see you. Margot's here. Now the party starts. So we have that. Yes, take it all with all meals. Take it with all meals. Absolutely. So watch everything change with your digestion. Watch everything change. Any of you who are on plateaus, watch everything change. I'm so serious. I am all about this. And the one thing I would say is, like, if you need more protein, I better plug my computer in, Yes, glycozyme does replace digestymes. If you have something that's a little more protein-centric, I would also have some bile salts available. You can find those on Amazon. Just have some extra bile salts. It's super helpful. I tell this to all my women who are just really suffering with poor digestion. There's no reason to do that anymore. Our bodies may not produce the digestive enzymes that they used to, but we have this wonderful thing called science, and we figured it out. And it's available in a bottle, and it just makes all the difference. I cannot emphasize this enough. I mean, we had 2 digestive enzyme formulas for years. But my preference is glycozyme with the added bile salts if you need it, just because I think this is such an incredible formulation. It's the best. All right. Who is sitting down? The description indicates hot meals. No, it does not. No, Sue. No, no, no. All meals. All meals. Ah, I'm so glad you're here. All meals, all the meals, every meal, all of them. Just not, you don't need it for your smoothie because your smoothie's already blended up, but you do need it possibly for all your meals. And I'm going to tell you a secret, most women do. We don't understand. When we're bloating, we're thinking, oh, we're bloating. It's, whatever, for whatever reason. Well, you're bloating, digest enzymes with your meals. Or you kind of feel like there's a solid brick down in your belly. Digest enzymes again. We're back to the glycozyme rather. We're back to this. Digestive enzymes are a woman's best friend. I would not be without them. I'm not blowing smoke here. I'm telling you what's up. Ann Hart is in the house, ladies and gentlemen. You know what that means? We're gonna have a party. And I'm telling you, this is a scorcher. It's a burner. I don't think I've shared this one before. Sit down, put on your seatbelts, and if necessary, you share this with someone who needs to hear it, okay? So here we go, because I'm telling you, I know I'm going to get some blowback on this one. I do not care because this is important. And it is Wise Women's Wednesday after all, and I'm going to talk about the power of the ultimate limitation. Do you know what that is? It's that self-love is a sin. Okay. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, I am getting on my pulpit, and here's the thing. So this is one of the biggest messed up things I was taught when I was in church. And it was one of the biggest things. I also had a radio show, as you know, in Southern California on KBRT, The Heart of a Woman. And at the time, I really struggled with this concept of self-love being a sin. I thought it was confusing. I thought it was depressing. And from my understanding of scripture, I couldn't see why this self-love as a sin thing came about. So to me, it was antithetical to everything I read, because after all, what are men told in Ephesians? They're told to love their wives as they love themselves. What does that mean? If they have self-love, then they're going to love their wives. We're also told to love our neighbors as ourselves. It was the greatest commandment, said Jesus, is this: love your neighbor as yourself. So if you ask me, what I see and what I hear is that we are to love ourselves, because there's a whole, if we don't, then how on earth are we going to love if we're not loving ourselves? Okay, there's all of that. And yet there is a whole sect of those who say otherwise when it comes to loving yourself. And I will tell you, I went to a Christian website and I cribbed a bunch of stuff that is just not so. But this is the stuff that's being taught. And I just feel like I really have to speak out against it, because I want women to live vibrant lives. How can you do that if you're constantly not loving yourself, caring for yourself, and doing what you need to do for yourself first? You can't. We've all burned out and figured that out on our own, haven't we? Trying to be the perfect Christian women, right? So what I found on this website, get this, it's delusional to love yourself, and real Christianity teaches that self-sacrifice is what we need to have, because we don't have to learn how to love ourselves. We don't have to learn how to love ourselves. They say that self-love is a sanitized version of selfishness. And we need to learn to die to ourselves in this age of self-love. So, like I said, I cribbed all of that from a website that I'm never going to tell you where it came from, because I don't want anybody going back and ever repeating all of that. Hi, Debbie. I'm glad you're here. But you know what that is? It's hopelessness. It's oppression. And on my watch, no ma'am. Absolutely no ma'am. So where do we go with all of this, with this concept of distorted self-love? Or where do we go with this concept of what we think is self-love? What does loving yourself really mean, truly? And what does it have to do with your self-limitations, too, by the way? And I want to just say that, first of all, and foremost of all, self-love is not a sanitized version of selfishness. Underline that. It is not. Of course not. Of course not. And I'm going to say this too, not everyone loves themselves. That's the assumption that was made here. Hey, Christy, I'm glad you're here. And I would say this because I have taken a phone call from a woman who was a friend whose child hung themselves. Did that child love himself so much that he put a noose around his neck and hung himself till he was dead? Did he? Would you say this to anyone who has suffered as a mother the loss of a child through suicide? This concept of too much self-love, a sanitized version of selfishness? Would you? This concept that self-love is a sanitized selfishness just boils my blood. Can you tell? It makes me angry and bone-crushingly sad for those who have had to bear this from a church, nonetheless, telling them this garbage. And those who have lived under that kind of oppression know this sure doesn't feel good. Self-love, in my opinion, is the thank you that we give the Creator who created us in His own image. Self-love, in my opinion, is being on purpose and for purpose and understand that we are fearfully and wonderfully made. How can you not love that? Are you with me on this? Anyone? If we're here on purpose and for purpose, then we have been divinely placed here right now. He knows the very hairs on our head. He's numbered them. Not just numbered them like you've got, 9,555 hairs. It's that when one comes out in a hairbrush, he knows what the number of that hair is. That's how incredibly he knows us. So how can we not say thank you to the one who created us like this by loving ourselves back? By loving ourselves back. We're fearfully and wonderfully made. What's not to love? So self-love then is merely a state of appreciation for being here, for being placed here. It's a high regard for our own well-being and our own happiness. That isn't a sin, y'all. That's not a sin. That's a great big thank you to the one who made us. That is love given back is what that is. And it's not sacrificing ourselves to please others. It's at the very core of not only our mental health, but our spiritual health as well. It fills our souls. It creates room in our lives for vibrancy. And I begin when we truly love ourselves, things begin to shift. When we get rid of this burden that self-love is a sin, things begin to shift because we become one, we're kinder. We just are to others and to ourselves. And you know why? It's because we see these people as worthy as being loved. Yes, Paula, including lesbians. Yes, Paula, including every single person on this planet that we can't relate to. It has nothing to do with lifestyle choices and everything to do with the fact that they're created in God's own image, just like you. So the garbage that you hear spewed on TV and these other isms and us against them, how absolutely absurd, how low vibe, how sad. We need to love. We need to love ourselves. We need to love others. It doesn't mean we have to go and be like them. Leave them alone. If you don't agree with everything, just back off. So what? No one's asking you to become a lesbian, right? Jeez, it just blows my mind that we are this small and tiny. Can't we love? Can't we just love? I believe when we love ourselves, we can. We can put all of that behind us and just say, you know what? My job here, the number one thing that Jesus said that I needed to do was love one another as I love myself. Period. The greatest of all commandments. Put that in your heart. Put that in your heart. I know. I'm not, Paula, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying, you know what I'm saying. I'm just saying anybody who has a disagreement of any other lifestyle, anything, I'm just saying, can we not get to the place of being loving? We can when we love ourselves. Number 2, when we accept ourselves, we stop accepting ourselves and stepping out and taking away from ourselves. We have a real problem with putting ourselves down. And I'll tell you what, when we're putting ourselves down and then in the same mouth taking and putting others down because we don't agree with their lives and the way that they live them and the way that they are, you see this horrible thing. We're not loving anyone, including ourselves, at all. Full of judgment and full of just, it's hatred. I do not believe that God in heaven is looking down and being well pleased. I don't. How could it be? Where's the love there, right? The greatest commandment of all is to love one another as I have loved you, right? Do unto others, all of it. Number 3, we find ourselves respecting ourselves more when we love ourselves. We respect what's on the end of our fork. We start respecting ourselves with the proper food. We start respecting ourselves in relationships. We put up boundaries. That's not okay. We start respecting ourselves in the use of our time. No, I'm not going to volunteer my life away. No, I can't do that right now. You'll find somebody else. I am so sure. You're so good at what you do, right? Those kind of things. It's incredible what happens when we do this. We are then giving ourselves the freedom to authentically become who we are. Number 4, we nurture ourselves. Here comes that self-care, not just with self-care, but with loving practices that encourage self-growth. Meditation, reading, journaling, right? Connecting, getting into what our goals are and observing that we can change our actions to create that bridge that gets us to those goals. We can see that because we're noticing, because we're loving ourselves. And when we love ourselves, we are less likely to be self-critical, be a people pleaser. I mean, how many people, I will just speak for myself. I lived most of my adult life till probably in my 40s, worrying about what other people thought of me. That's people pleasing to the nth degree. And I was more concerned about what they thought of me than what I thought of me. Isn't that awful? I was so concerned and wound up. My whole life was spent in people pleasing. You're less likely to be a perfectionist, tolerate abuse or mistreatment, or be neglectful of your own needs. Until I was about 45, 46 years old, I suddenly realized, you know what? I matter. I count. I need to take care of myself. I blew out my thyroid. I was 240 pounds. I was miserable human being. But I was a self-sacrificial, people-pleasing, perfectionist. And my life was sheer, unadulterated misery. Sheer, unadulterated misery. Right on, Sandy. We do have to love people from a distance sometimes. And I want to say this right now and clarify anything that I'm saying. Self-love is not narcissism, okay? It's not narcissism. We're going to differentiate what that is, okay? It's not putting yourself above everyone else, thinking you're better than everyone else. And self-love knows you're flawed, but accepts yourself anyway. Self-love means you love others the way you love yourself, right? I don't know. I've heard a Bible verse that kind of says something like that, right? And narcissism, on the other hand, doesn't accept their flaws because they don't think they have them. That's the difference right there. And if anybody has ever been in a relationship with a narcissist, oh, sister, I've got my pinkies up for you because I've been there. No fun. No fun. Narcissism also blames everyone and everything else and never accepts responsibility, because how could they possibly be flawed, right? Self-love doesn't prevent you from loving others. You love yourself the same way, right? This is what it does. Self-love never prevents love. As a matter of fact, it opens the door and allows you to love more. However, narcissists seek validation and recognition, and they lack empathy for others. That sound familiar? It's those who are around giving you all the otherisms. And it's coming from pulpits, it's coming from television screens, it's coming from all of that. We are this and they're going to hell. We are so much better and they are not. Right? And a lot of it is, too, is that they're saying that self-love is the ultimate form of sanitized selfishness. So let's make a departure here. And if you are saying to yourself, you know what, I don't quite know how to love myself. What if I were to do that? I'm going to give you 5 things that'll help, I think. And that is the number one thing. Is the first thing that you could do is start congratulating yourself for doing something right. We've talked about that before. High five. Yeah, way to go. Leanne, you did that. You did that. Good for you. That's number one. Start doing that when you do something right. Because oftentimes we catch ourselves doing something wrong all the time. All the time. Oh, you idiot. Why did you do that? That was so stupid. Blah, blah, blah. And we get on ourselves. But do we ever give ourselves an encouraging word when we do something right? Let's start doing that, shall we? What do you think? Might shift things a little bit. Number 2, call yourself by name and look yourself in the eye. I've shared this before, but at the times of feeling really low, being in a depressed state, looking myself in the eye and reminding myself in the mirror, Leanne, you are fearfully and wonderfully made. You are the apple of God's eye. Don't forget that. Don't ever, ever forget that. I also have this image too. This is one of the things that just really spoke to me when I was going through a lot of healing from all of this. And that was that I was invited to sit at the table. It wasn't like I was under the table like a dog begging for crumbs. We're invited to sit at the table, all of us. Every single one of us. Loved, 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 and cherished, treasured. The apple of God's eye. Amazing. That just fills my whole heart when I hear about that. And to have somebody look at you like that, to have God above looking at you like that, he's not just looking at you like that, he's looking at all of us like that. That's how precious we are. Intentionally here on purpose and for purpose. Number 3 is do something that you love every single day. Don't just check out and get involved with your phone and check out playing games and watching Netflix and drinking wine and all of that. Do something that fills your soul, that makes you feel like, hey, I'm really good at this. I have a girlfriend who, she's an incredible knitter. And she lives right here in Conisty, and I just love her. She's making this most beautiful sweater. The things that she makes are just incredible. She does something that she loves every day. And I always like to validate that. Anytime I see anything, I validate that because it is so good to see somebody doing something like that, right? I've shared with you that when Mark and I were getting married, that Jenny made us this beautiful cross. I'm not saying it right. Cross knit, cross point, cross. I don't know. She is a photo of Mark and I, and she counted cross stitch. Thank you. Counted cross. I mean, it's one of my most treasured things. If we had a fire, I would grab that and run. I love it. And people always look at it. It's right there in our little kitchen area, eating area. People always look at, we have no wall space. I had nowhere to hang it. I was like, I'm not, where am I going to put this? And it's right leaning against the window. The light comes off of it. Everybody looks at it and go, what a great picture. I said, get closer. Go take a look. That is love all over. I mean, the fact that Jenny did that for me, just absolutely I still fills my heart. And that is love right there. It is her doing something that she loved to bless someone else, right? That's the way it's supposed to be, right? We do these kind of things and we love one another and with a loving gift of a loving talent that you have. Isn't that beautiful? Number 4 is to make peace with the stuff you're insecure about. Anybody got any insecurities besides me? Am I the only one here? Am I it? Or do you have one? Anyone? We're all insecure, right? We all have something that just rocks our boat and makes us feel a little bit whatever. I play with a competitive group, 2 competitive groups of people. Pickleball, you know me. And I will tell you right now that I was so intimidated, so insecure, so whatever. And there's some good people. Today, I had one of the gals come up who is 30 years younger than me. Seriously. She said, Leanne, wow, you are really playing good. I can't believe how much you've improved. I can't blah, 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 blah. And I was so glad Mark was right there. And I was like, wow, thank you. I really appreciate it. It means a lot. And it helps me to not feel so insecure when I go out there and do this because I'm still relatively new. You know, you have the ability to do that to someone else. You have the ability to say, you know what, you did a really good job today. Especially somebody in that knowing kind of a place. That's us loving ourselves enough to give somebody else a little something else. Let's do that. Let's make a point of doing that for someone. Just one little thing. Even if you're talking to a customer service rep on the phone, do it. Won't that make someone's day? Of course it will. And the last thing is to take back your power. Don't spread your power around and give it all away like it's confetti at a parade. Don't do that. You have to hold on to your power. Your power is yours. You are given it at birth. It is a birthright. And your power to love yourself, your power to love others, your power to be the very best version of yourself is wrapped up in this concept of self-love. I dare you to love yourself. I dare you to love yourself enough that you're going to listen to all of this. You're going to start congratulating yourself every day. You're going to look at yourself in the mirror and give yourself an atta girl. You're going to say your own name. You're going to mean it. You're going to start doing things that you love every single day. And you're going to make peace with the stuff that you feel insecure about. And one of the ways that you can do it is to make sure you tell somebody else when they're a little insecure about something, they're doing a good job. And as you take back your power, as you see that the woman that you are, when you see that vibrancy start to shine through, you are going to know that love, that self-love that you have, that's not sanitized selfishness. That is a reflection of God's love for you. That is a thank you and a great appreciation for the fact that He put you here on this planet on purpose and for purpose, fearfully and wonderfully made. That's you. And boy, am I grateful that you are in my life. You have no idea. You bring me joy every single solitary day. I mean that. From everybody that I work with to everybody who ever comes to this show, to anybody who ever purchases something at our website, all of you, an extraordinary appreciation. And I couldn't have that if it didn't come from the fact that I have dared to love myself. And so today I'm putting it back to you. Will you dare to love yourself too? I sure hope so, because you're so worth it. All right, that's all I have, or I'm going to start crying. I really appreciate you. We will be back tomorrow for Thirsty Thursday. Meanwhile, peace be with you, and thank you for being with me today. Love you both all. Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining me today. You can find me on TikTok for daily tips to help support your most vibrant life. And remember, you are the author of your own story. Until next time.